Whether you're new to Fort Smith or you've been living here for a while, surely you've noticed the signs where it says, "Welcome to Fort Smith, sister city to Cisterna, Italy, and sister city to Nego Tarbole." In this video, we'll explain why. Fort Smith has a native son known around the world who grew up near 8th and North C Street in Bella Grove neighborhood that is now Bella Grove Historic District of Fort Smith, Arkansas. William Orlando Darby was born on February 8, 1911 and graduated from Belle Grove High School in Fort Smith in 1929. He attended West Point and graduated in 1933. He was a career U.S. Army officer who fought in World War II, where he was killed in action at age 34 in Italy on April 30th, 1945, just 2 days before the German surrender in Italy. He was posthumously promoted to Brigadier General, the only officer to be promoted to any general rank in World War II. Darby was the founding commander of the 1st Ranger Battalion, which evolved into the United States Army Rangers. He was portrayed by James Garner in the 1958 film Darby's Rangers. As World War II progressed, Darby saw rapid promotion to the grade of lieutenant colonel, only holding the rank of major for a few weeks. He was with the 1st United States combat troops sent to Europe after the United States entered World War II, the 34th Infantry Division, a National Guard unit known as the Red Bull. During its stay in Northern Ireland, Darby became interested in the British Commandos. On June 19, 1942, the 1st Ranger Battalion was sanctioned, and Darby was put in charge of the recruitment and training. Many of these original 500 Rangers were volunteers from the 34th. In November 1942, the 1st Ranger Battalion proved its worth in Algeria, North Africa, and then Sicily, and then the Italian mainland. Darby was decorated several times for bravery with the Silver Star and 2 Distinguished Service Crosses. As the war in Italy bogged down, the Allies decided to land a force at Anzio behind enemy lines south of Rome near Cisterna. Colonel Darby led 3 Ranger battalions in this amphibious invasion landing at Anzio. They would spearhead the invasion, giving it their all. The 1st and 3rd battalions suffered heavy losses. Some 450 Rangers were taken prisoner and more than 300 killed. It was a huge sacrifice. It did, however, weaken the German defense, which led to the fall of Cisterna to the Allies, and eventually Rome. The majority of Italians were never on board with the new leader Benito Mussolini, who was a close friend of Hitler. They so wanted to be free from the Nazi occupation, but to rebel would result in death or imprisonment. When the Allies came ashore at Anzio, Cisterna and the area rejoiced and prayed that the Nazis would be defeated quickly. They wanted their nation back, and this effort and sacrifice from Colonel Darby and his Rangers was never, ever forgotten by the people of Cisterna. Nego Tarbole is a community about 3,000 people located in the northern tip of Lake Garda in the province of Trentino Alto, in the region of Trentino Alto Adige. It's a beautiful region of northern Italy at the base of the Swiss Alps that has become a popular resort destination in modern times. In the final days of Nazi occupation in 1945, Nego Tarbole saw fierce fighting during the days of the Germans' desperate retreat up the boot of Italy as Operation Finito was underway to finish the war in Italy with the 15th Army Group, which included all Allied forces in northern Italy. Colonel Darby had just returned to Italy in March after being in the States on duty at the Pentagon and a welcome home parade in his hometown of Fort Smith, Arkansas. The war would soon be over, and Colonel Darby returned on a damage assessment tour of Italy, serving on the staff of 5-star General Henry Hap Arnold. 5th Army of the 15th Group was being reinforced by several organizations, one of them the 10th Mountain Division. Deputy Commander Brigadier General Robinson Duff was wounded on April 23rd, and Colonel Darby replaced him. Task Force Darby spearheaded the breakout of the 5th Army from the Po River Valley bridgehead and reached Nego Tarbole at the head of Lake Garda. Commander Darby saw the death of Benito Mussolini on April 28th in Guyuno Azzano, about 20 miles west of Nego Tarbole. April 30th, 1945, while Darby was issuing orders for the attack on Trento to cut off the German retreat, an artillery shell burst in the middle of the assembled officers and NCOs, killing Darby and a regimental sergeant major, John Tim Evans, and wounding several others. It was also on April 30th that Adolf Hitler allegedly took his own life. Task Force Darby continued their mission without Colonel Darby, and 2 days later, on May 2nd, 1945, all German forces in Italy surrendered. 25 American soldiers also died in Lake Garda, and their bodies were never recovered. Nago-Tarbellay honors their sacrifice every year as well. Nago-Tarbellay has become the second sister city of Fort Smith, Arkansas because of Colonel Darby's leadership and sacrifice in the Po Valley, as Nago-Tarbellay has never, ever forgotten. There is way more to learn about these city-sister relationships, and all residents of these cities are welcome to travel, explore, and exchange friendship. If you are a resident of any of these three cities, Fort Smith, Cisterna, or Nago-Tarbellay, you will be welcomed with honor. Cisterna is in the province of Latina, just south of Rome in the region of Lazio. It was mentioned in the Bible by St. Paul in the book of Acts, chapter 28, verse 15. The King James Version reads, "And from thence, when the brethren heard of us, they came to meet us as far as Apiforum and the three taverns, whom when Paul saw, he thanked God and took courage." To put this verse in context, Paul had just endured a lengthy 3-month shipwreck on the island of Malta while heading to Rome to receive a full pardon from Emperor Nero in 60 AD, as Paul was a Roman citizen. He was also preaching the gospel in the Roman Empire and was delayed traveling with Silas due to harsh weather. When he finally resumed his journey, they arrived at Tres Cabernet, or Three Taverns, which was a popular resting place for travelers heading to and from Rome on what was known as the Appian Way, or Road to Rome. The Three Taverns evolved into present-day Cisterna, Italy. Previous missionaries had spread the gospel to the region while Paul and Silas were shipwrecked on Malta, and when the Christians in the area heard of the approach of Paul and Silas, they met them at Tres Cabernet, or Three Taverns, coming as far as Rome. They rejoiced together and worshiped together in what became the first gospel festival jamboree in Italy. To sum up the last words of chapter 28, verse 15, Paul thanked God and took great courage, meaning his faith was reinforced after encountering the huge crowd of Christian brothers. In the United States of America, there's 3,243 counties, some of which are called equivalents. In Louisiana, they're called parishes. In Alaska, they're called boroughs. The state of Arkansas has 75 counties. Fort Smith lies within Sebastian County.
Welcome to Fort Smith, Arkansas. I'm Miss Sebastian County, Molly Dunaway, and I'm here with my sister queen.
Hi, I'm Gracie Aponte, your Miss Sebastian County. My sister queen and our team are going to be your virtual tour guides. As you can see, we have various banners. We have the 40-year banner and the Italian flag to showcase that Fort Smith is so excited for our Cisterna delegation.
Here we are in Cisterna Park in downtown Fort Smith, right off Garrison Avenue, where the William Darby Harley-Davidson Monument stands. April 30th, 2016, the monument was dedicated in his honor.
That was the same day that Hitler supposedly took his own life. It's also the anniversary of Darby's passing. At the museum, we'll show you a picture of when Darby, at only 15 years old, sat in this very spot. Here lies some of the names of the people that were able to make this monument possible.
Debbie, your name is on one of these bricks. Could you tell us more about your role in this?
Certainly. I'm retired Army, and we had the monument that was being made, and during that time they asked if people wanted to have a brick, purchase a brick, as well as a lot of personal donations that were made in order to make this wonderful monument possible. Bricks here I have for myself, my father, both my grandfathers, two of my uncles, and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law was actually a Darby Ranger, and he was over in Vietnam. Now, General Patton made comments about General Darby here. He said that General Darby was the bravest man that he ever knew, based on the fact that General Darby rode his motorcycle to the front lines when the war was going on. Thus, he's known as the bravest man that General Patton ever knew. Additionally, here, there were so many people when they did this dedication on April the 30th of 2016, one of the nephews from General Darby also came here and spoke. It was a fabulous occasion. I'm thankful to be proud of it and proud to be a part of this.
Thank you, Debbie.
You are so welcome.
There are multiple exhibits of Darby's life showcased from his childhood all the way to his death.
In April of 1944, William Darby returned from the war and was given a warm hero's welcome from the citizens of Fort Smith, Arkansas. This exhibit showcases the welcome home parade that Darby was given before he returned back to war and was killed in the line of duty in Tarbole.
Judging by this exhibit, you can see that Fort Smith was really booming during these days. Notice how the streets are lined with so many people, and if you look closely, you'll see that Garrison Avenue was bricked at this time. If you look closely, you'll see the Immaculate Conception Church.
In April 30th of 1945, William Darby died at the age of 34. 4 years later, his family had his body exhumed and brought back to the United States, where he could be buried in the National Cemetery in Fort Smith. Here in this exhibit, you see the funeral processions going down Garrison Avenue.
In one of the last sections of the Darby exhibit, there's a picture of Darby himself playing the clarinet in 1925.
An enlargement of the same photo shows William Darby holding his clarinet, also photoed with his father. The group is standing actually in the very spot where his monument stands today. Also, right behind him is where the Fort Smith Coffee Company is, and the post office is just behind the rest of the group.
I'm here with Vice Mayor.
Hi, I'm Jared Rigo with the City of Fort Smith.
My name is Maria Innamorato, Vice Mayor of Cisterna Italy, Italia.
Gianni Salis, sindaco di Cisterna di Latina nel 1982.
Hi, I'm Miss Translator. He's Gianni Salis, former mayor of Cisterna di Latina in 1982. I'm his granddaughter, yes?
Could you tell us a little bit about your trip to Italy?
Yes, I'd be happy to. In April of 2023, I had the honor of joining numerous colleagues on a trip to Nagotoborle in the north of Italy to become our twin sister city there, our second twin sister city after our dear friends in Cisterna. That's the location, Torbole, where General Darby was killed in action in April of 1945 while involved in the liberation of Torbole. And so we are celebrating here this evening the 40th anniversary of our sister city relationship with our friends in Cisterna. We have a wonderful delegation who's joined us and traveled a long way. A group of us is going over in October to reciprocate, and I am very much looking forward to once again being able to walk amongst the beautiful sights and sounds of your country, and to once again experience the hospitality that is second to none that the Italian people provide to us. We've given a very small fraction of the generosity that you have shown to us, and we're very, very grateful for it.
Ringrazio la città di Fort Smith per l'accoglienza che ci ha riservato anche in questa occasione. Io è la quinta volta che vengo in Fort Smith, nel 1984, nel 2000, nel 2003 e un altro giorno, un'altra data non la ricordo, è questa di oggi. Ho accompagnato qui degli studenti, abbiamo avuto degli scambi studenteschi tra Cisterna e Fort Smith e sono onorato di far parte di questa comunità come città gemella di Fort Smith.
Thank you for your warm welcome here, and I'm so happy to be here. It's my 5th time here. I've been here in 1984, 1996, 2002, and now that's your 5th time. And I can't wait to welcome the people of Fort Smith in Cisterna next month.
Oggi è una giornata di festa, per la città di Cisterna e per la città di Fort Smith, perché oggi si celebrano i 40 anni di anniversario del Gemellaggio. È una giornata di festa perché durante questi 40 anni gli scambi culturali tra le due città sono sempre stati molto attivi, e questo grazie a Gianni Salis che è qui vicino a me. L'accoglienza della città di Fort Smith è stata un'accoglienza eccezionale e speriamo di ricambiare la stessa accoglienza nel mese di ottobre. Anche se questo gemellaggio nasce su un fatto doloroso, noi siamo stati bravi, capaci a ricostruire un grande rapporto tra le due città. Non finiremo mai di ringraziare gli americani, Cisterna, l'Italia in particolare non smetterà mai di ringraziare l'America per averci liberato dall'occupazione nazifascista.
Thank you for your warm welcome here. It has been a really excellent welcome. It's been a pleasure. We can't wait to meet you in October in Cisterna, and we will never end thanking you for liberating Cisterna and all of Italy from the Nazi occupation.
Thank you everyone so much.
Thank you.
I'm here with former Mayor Sandy Sanders. How many times have you been to Italy?
Just one, well, a few times to Italy, but only one time to Cisterna. And it's a magnificent small community, and I would encourage anybody and everybody to go. It's not just the historical things that you see there, but the people are so welcoming. They're so appreciative, particularly from people from Fort Smith, anything to do with General Darby, he led his troops there in an attempt to free Cisterna from the Nazis. And they have great appreciation for Americans, but also particularly from people from Fort Smith. Yeah, both our daughters are Miss Sebastian County, Susan Sanders and Elaine Sanders.
Thank you so much.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Welcome this evening. My name is Caroline Spear. I'm the director of the Fort Smith Museum of History. To say what a special event this is a bit of an understatement for me, both professionally and personally. I've been with the museum for almost 17 years now, and my earlier job here was as exhibits, and there have been a lot of incredibly special exhibits and incredibly wonderful people that I have been able to meet because of that. And some of those people have even become friends. But this exhibit, this event is a bit different than that for not just myself, but I think a lot of people in the audience. And so tonight, we have several speakers with us. As probably most of you in this room are aware, we have a delegation from Cisterna with us this week. And we have Vice Mayor Maria Innamorato, and her family are with us. And we have the former mayor who was mayor of Cisterna in 1984 when we twinned, Mr. Johnny Solis, and his family are here with us. So the exhibit that we're going to look at tonight and the speakers who are going to be here, this exhibition carries forward the various gifts and exchanges that have happened over the last 40 years. Let's get started. And first of all, I want to introduce, I mentioned Emery Dockery. He was with the Darby Foundation. And for years, he really made sure that relationship moved forward. He passed away. And in that place, there was a retired U.S. Army Ranger who purchased the Darby House and is working toward taking care of the needs of it and trying to bring it back. It needs some attention, so he has done that, and he is, I'm not sure where Ashley is. Ashley. Let me introduce Ashley Moss, please, the director of the Darby House.
Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here, and it's really exciting to see everyone. Emery Dockery passed away, and the old nonprofit, or the Memorial Foundation, was closed, and the new foundation, or the Darby House nonprofit, has taken over and is moving everything into the future. And the mission is still pretty much the same. It's arts, humanities, culture, and to maintain and preserve the home of General Darby. And that's a lot of work. I don't know if anyone has had a chance to go down and look at it, but it's in need of a lot of repair, and we're getting it there. I think that the future relationships between Cisterna and Fort Smith are definitely going to continue. I was really excited to see the past mayor and yourself, but none of this I don't think would have come together smoothly if it wasn't for Carolyn. Okay. So please give Carolyn and the museum staff.
Both Caroline and Ashley mentioned Emery Dockery, who passed away. Emery really did a lot to keep General Darby's legacy alive, and for 2 decades he fostered the relationship between Fort Smith and Cisterna. We have a short video, courtesy of Caitlin Zollner of KNWA Fox 24, that puts faces to the names on the Darby monument, like Dr. Darren McKinney and Darby's nephew Darby Watkins, who spoke at the monument's dedication. You will also see Joe Armstrong's name on the monument, who will speak later during our monument ceremony.
He was very involved in tons of activities.
Darby Watkins is one of the last living relatives of General William Orlando Darby.
He was personable and driven.
Watkins is proud of his family history.
His sister was my mother, and when her health declined and she got older, she'd asked me if I would continue carrying on his tradition.
I would say that he's probably the highest decorated and most famous of the military officers from Arkansas, and certainly World War II.
The leadership that General Darby left is carried on today, and to see something that was started in 1942 carry on in 2018 is pretty amazing.
Darren McKinney is the president of the Darby Legacy Project in Fort Smith.
We wanted people to know about General Darby, and so we constructed a statue of General Darby.
And there was a lot of thought put into the placement of the statue.
When we decided to do the statue here, Darby, we put it in Cisterna Park. Cisterna is, it is our sister city, but the reason why it's our sister city is because it is one of the largest battles with the Rangers involved, and is the biggest battle where casualties, Rangers suffered.
McKinney says the statue was built to help carry on Darby's legacy.
Just having people talk about it, having people coming out and saying, what does Darby mean? That is what the ultimate goal for us was.
And for Watkins, he's proud of the people working to keep his uncle's name alive.
World War II is becoming a distant memory. 10 years ago is a distant memory, but I think that the sacrifice is something that is timeless and people can wrap their minds around today.
The house became available by an estate, and the Rangers bought the house and restored it. It took, 3 to 4 years to restore the house. But this house was actually built in 1890. We are in Darby's bedroom as we speak, and it was completely restored, updated, and established and opened in 1984 to a museum.
Today, there are hundreds of Army Rangers that serve our country, and they learn about General William Darby early on. Darby laid the groundwork for the modern Army Rangers. Till this day, no soldier can earn a Ranger tab without passing the Darby phase of training first.
Every Ranger that comes through, gets a chance to come through Fort Smith, they come to Fort Smith because of General Darby. They come to the school to see Darby Junior High. They come to the statue. They go to the National Cemetery to pay their respects to General Darby because he is the father of the Ranger community.
Darby Watkins, Darby's nephew, tells us that he knows of more than 100 soldiers who have named their children William or Darby after his uncle.
There were several speakers at this gift exchange meeting on September 25th, including former Fort Smith Mayor Sandy Sanders, Fort Smith Vice Mayor Jared Rigo, Museum Board of Directors Officer Mr. Smith, Vice Mayor of Cisterna, Dr. Maria Innamorato, with several entertaining moments like Fort Smith Vice Mayor Rigo trying to speak Italian. Let's listen in.
Ai nostri illustri ospiti di Cisterna. Grazie per i 40 anni di amicizia. Tutti voi ci onorate della vostra presenza. Questa lunga e meravigliosa collaborazione ha arricchito le nostre vite. Grazie per aver onorato il nostro comune eroe, il generale Darby. E grazie per essere i nostri migliori amici in tutto il mondo. What I hope I said is to our distinguished guests from Cisterna, thank you for 40 years of friendship. You honor us with your presence. This long and wonderful partnership has enriched our lives. Thank you for honoring our shared hero, General Darby, and thank you for being our best friends in the entire world. Thank you very much.
But with all of the gift giving this evening, the most spectacular look on the delegation's faces was when Mr. Smith of the museum taught the Cisterna delegation to call the Hogs, the Arkansas Razorbacks. The look on their faces was priceless.
And now for a crowd participation. To be a sister city to Fort Smith, Arkansas, you have to understand that our major university at the University of Arkansas mascot is a Razorback hog. Fierce. Hogs never back up, they only go forward. And we learn from birth a thing called the hog call. And for our friends here who've never experienced that, we have a crowd participation. Are you up and ready for it? Yes. Ready?
Big
We do have a reception area up in our front, and please feel free to enjoy a drink, and we'll probably have some eats left.
We have a token that we would like to give you all, each of the females in the delegation. If you would please come up here, Sarah and Rita, Maria, Sylvia, and Nella. This is Miss Sebastian County, Arkansas, a gift for each of you all.
Questo è un regalo che ci dà tutti quanti.
Yes. Some beautiful flowers from some beautiful ladies. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, a true pleasure to have you all here this evening. Thank you very much.
Grazie.
It was exactly a half-mile walk from Darby's home to Fort Smith Belgrove High School, which is known today as Darby Middle School. Darby would see the construction of the new Mason Temple while walking to school, known today as Temple Live. Constructed from Bedford stone, Temple Live was a Mason temple that opened in 1929, the year William Darby graduated from high school. It was placed on the National Registry of Historic Places in 1992. The new Fort Smith High School was completed in the fall of 1897, and just 3 months later, on January 11, 1898, a tornado destroyed most of the buildings. The new Belgrove High School was built and improved after the turn of the century, where the auditorium is the only building that remains from that era of 1900 to 1913. The Cisterna delegation was given a tour of Darby Middle School, where they were treated to view a curtain artifact in the old auditorium dating back to 1914.
As we go further down, these are coins that have been presented by different rangers and organizations that have come to the school. You see regiment, 1st Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Battalion, and this is to represent how we give each other coins and the process that some of the delegates and individuals are getting coins through this partnership.
E quelli sono i
vari distintivi che identificano i vari battaglioni dei Ranger che sono stati
Darby School, we celebrated our 100-year anniversary last year. It was the Fort Smith Public School, and then became a junior high, and then it to a middle school. You want to go? We keep going? Okay. And then so we have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And we have 750 students. And I was explaining, we also have the school-based health clinic on our campus, which is unique to Darby as well.
Praticamente ha detto che questa prima hanno celebrato 100 anni dell'edificio. Prima era una scuola superiore, quindi il liceo, mentre adesso è una scuola media. Quindi c'è probabilmente l'equivalente della nostra scuola media. E che oltre a questo edificio che è dedicato a Darby ci sono dei campetti dietro, un altro piccolo edificio che sono anche dedicati a Darby.
Let's go ahead and head inside. And the fire curtain is 1914. So it's been here a very long time, and it's very rare that it is actually brought down. And I believe it is, was it King Solomon's Temple and Queen of Sheba? Is that what it is? I believe so. And it's very historic, very biblical, and hand done. So it's amazing that it's still here.
E rappresenta una scena biblica. È molto
1914. Wow. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Now we got some light on it.
Oh, Daddy. So we've actually, because we would like to have it displayed a lot more, we've actually contacted the local museum and see if they could use it, but it's so big and it's so costly to remove that we can't do that at this time. And what we're concerned with is that the structure that holds the canvas up is becoming very dated, and even to repair that piece of it's going to be very costly and expensive to do that as well because of asbestos and things that they put into the system a long time ago.
This park stands as a living tribute to our shared past, as a beacon for our future, as we break ground today on the expansion that will further enrich this place of honor, enduring that future generations will know the story and strong ties between Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Cisterna, Italy. This expansion is a symbol of our ongoing commitment to preserve and celebrate the rich history that unites us all. To the delegation from Cisterna, thank you for joining us on this special occasion. Our connections, founded in the valor of General William O. Darby and solidified through the bonds of peace and friendship, grow stronger each passing year. Together, we will continue to honor our shared legacies and look forward to the many, many more years of collaboration between our two great cities. Let us lay the wreath, we will lay the wreath, in solemn tribute to those who fought for freedom and to the enduring friendship between Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Cisterna, Italy. May this park continue to stand as a symbol of courage, resilience, and unity And again, thank all of you for being here.
Come on!
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Buongiorno. My name is Caroline Spear. I'm the director with the Fort Smith Museum of History, and thank you all for coming out this morning. This is a very important event for us. We are here to honor General Darby and the sacrifice of him and his Darby's Rangers during World War II. And this morning we have a few speakers, and we're going to have a wreath-laying ceremony. So first off, I want to introduce Joe Armstrong. He's a retired U.S. Army Ranger. If you're local, you might remember that he and his wife, along with a committee, were the ones who created the Darby statue and brought it to Fort Smith. That was in 2016. So because of that, we have in this beautiful park a way to honor our general. If you all have ever been to the museum, and if you haven't, please come. I'll be happy to show you an image that we have of General Darby in 1925. He's about 15 years old. It's called Gemellaggio Day, and it is a day where there was a lot of celebration and bands with some of the local fraternities. And at the time, this was the plaza, and it was a much larger park then, and there is a panoramic photograph of a 15-year-old Darby with a clarinet at his feet, and he's sitting just a little way down this way. And so I don't imagine that 15-year-old Darby expected, anticipated, or ever dreamed that there might be a statue in his hometown to him. So thank you, Joe, for making that possible. And we will get started. Please, retired Army U.S. Ranger Joe Armstrong.
Thank you for coming today. I'm just going to say a few things on how we got to this point with the statue. In Fort Smith, they used to have a thing called the Citizens Academy, and my wife and I attended it, and Mayor Sanders hosted it with one of his employees, Tracy Winchell. At the end of that, a young man who was from Fort Smith and who went to Darby School, he was a famous rapper, Chris Cooper. He's out of Atlanta, and he was here that night that we had this graduation ceremony, and he rapped a song that was like, "What are you going to do for your city?" And right there, we knew we had to do something. And so my wife and I left that, and we started driving around Fort Smith that night. And if you notice, if you come over the bridge from Oklahoma, Bass Reef sits down there on 3rd Street. So we've got this idea is, hey, let's do a statue of Darby. Okay, well, where are we going to put him? And we didn't really think about Cisterna Park right away because it was a smaller park then, and the only thing that really happened here besides the Yantis Fountain was the National Rose Society was here. So we went to the mayor. You know, we went to the guy that could make it happen, and we sat down and we said, this is what we want to do. We had a little plan, and we put a little committee together. We started this in late 2012. I probably traveled 50,000 miles across the United States going to every Ranger event I could go to and put the word out to everybody. This statue, we raised approximately $365,000. It cost us about $310 to put it on the ground. For the last 8 years, we've done mostly the maintenance on the statue itself. Kevin Cressy out of Little Rock was the sculptor. He's also the current sculptor of the Johnny Cash statue that sits at the rotunda at the Capitol. So he was important to us to do this because we wanted local. It was cast over in Norman, Oklahoma, and just by chance, one of the Darby's descendants, Rita, lives over in Oklahoma, over in Norman, so she was there the whole time. We hired a young man out of St. Louis, Missouri, who was a World War II Ranger reenactor, kind of fit Darby's description. The motorcycle that's currently at the museum, we sent it to Little Rock, We hired this guy for a week, and he came down with the pose and sat there so the sculptor could put it together. In probably February of 2016, we decided it was time to put it on the ground. We had earned all the money. Scott Stubblefield standing over here was extremely vital in actually putting it on the ground. So thank you, Scott. You did a great job. And again, it's a legacy thing. It's something that continues. All these bricks here are from former Rangers, local individuals here in Fort Smith, local organizations. You know, a lot of people have bricks here, and those people also help pay for this. You know, and we appreciate them, and we thank them every opportunity we can get. But that's kind of the history on it. We appreciate the city, Mayor. We appreciate you guys taking care of it. Mr. Gefkin, thank you, sir. We appreciate you. And our Parks Director also. You know, of course, our police officers that kind of keep an eye on it at night. They're always out. But that's all I've got. I thank you all for coming again. Caroline, who's next? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Chief of Police, Chief Danny Baker.
Thank you all. Thank you for being here this morning. Hearty welcome from the Fort Smith Police Department. I'd like to say thank you also to the City of Fort Smith, Mayor McGill, City Administrator Gefkin, Vice Mayor Rigo, and all the Board of Directors for their support of this, for their support of the sharing of history in our fair city, because we've got a lot of it, a lot of very colorful and rich history. So I thank them for that. Would like to thank the City of Cisterna, Italy, Vice Mayor Innamorato for being here. Also like to thank Caroline Spear with the Fort Smith Museum of History, all her staff, Mila Masur and Dan, Ashley Moss, the Darby House. None of this would have been possible without them and their support and hard work that they've done to put this together. So let's give all these folks a round of applause. Also, I'm the current president of the Fort Smith Museum of History Board, and so I'd like to encourage you all to visit all of the wonderful museums and galleries that we have to offer here in Fort Smith, but especially the Fort Smith Museum of History. As Fort Smith's oldest and most historically inclusive museum, you can immerse yourself in all of that rich and colorful history of the River Valley, from Maud Allen and Belle Starr to General Darby, U.S. Marshal Bass Reeves, and Judge Isaac Parker. You can learn all about the history of our sister city relationships with Cisterna and recently Nago Torbole. If you've never been, go check it out. And if it's been a while, rediscover this Fort Smith gem. I think you'll be surprised. It is altogether fitting and proper that we periodically pause for moments like this to recognize and remember not only the sacrifices of heroes like General Darby, but to also celebrate the relationships that form from such a meaningful life. Were it not for his sacrifice and that of so many, many others, the world would likely be a very different and less free place. I'm eternally grateful for the life and freedom that I have because of men like General Darby. I'm also grateful for the cultural collaboration that we share with our longtime sister city, Cisterna, Italy, and our newest sister, Nago Torbole, Italy. I believe we were made better by these relationships, and I suspect General Darby would encourage us in this endeavor. After all, he gave his life defending them. President Ronald Reagan said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We didn't pass it on to our children in our bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. It's through moments like these that we protect and pass on that precious thing called freedom to our children. I want to thank you again for your attendance at today's ceremony and for your continued support of cultural awareness and exchange. We are all made better by them. May God bless all of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my immense pleasure to introduce to you today the Vice Mayor of Cisterna. This is Maria Innamorato.
I greet you all from the community of Cisterna and from Italy. To be here in this place so full of meaning, so full of patriotic values, sacrifice, and the courage is truly moving. So many young people, some of them very young, who in various missions made the ultimate sacrifice, their lives, in defense of people oppressed by dictatorship and deprived of the noble principles of freedom and democracy, just as the people of Italy and Cisterna did 18 years ago. After the Anzio landing on 22nd January 1944, Cisterna played a strategic role in the liberation of Rome and the Allied advance towards central and northern Italy. The liberation of Cisterna for the Nazi Germans was essential, fundamental to the liberation of the Italian people from the oppression of the enemy. For this reason, on the night of 29-30 January 1944, the Rangers attempted a nighttime infiltration in Cisterna. It was a fierce, brutal battle for 767 soldiers under General William Orlando Darby, with many casualties and prisoners. The 1st and their Ranger Battalions were never reconstituted, but their deeds remain etched in the history and the memories of the Cisterna community. To them, to the Rangers, we have dedicated a street. To General Darby, we have named a school, and the columns of Isola Bella pierced by the bullets of the Battle of 29 and 30th of January 1944 are a monument. The twinning with the city of Fort Smith is the temple of the sacrifice. Today, 80 years after those events, 40 years after the twinning, we do not forget. We honor with greater strength and awareness the heroic deeds of those who fought selflessly for the freedom of a people that was not their own, and he now rests here in well-deserved place. Cisterna and Italy say thank you.
Grazie mille. As you just heard, very moving words, and that is what moves us forward to honor this relationship. Mayor McGill, would you mind wrapping things up?
Again, thank you for being here. Gianni, come over here. Mayor Sanders, come over here. This gentleman has nurtured and kept our relationship together for decades. And we thank Mayor Sanders for being the connection to Fort Smith that has made this special day very possible. And again, thank you for being here, my friend. Also, I would like to thank our junior ROTC. We're so very proud of them. We cannot have an event unless we make sure they bring their honor guard. And we do have the largest JROTC group in the state of Arkansas. And with this, again, thank all of you for being here. What a wonderful day as we celebrate the union between Cisterna and Fort Smith, and we're looking to the future, and I can't wait to go to see that beautiful country. At this time, we're going to lay a wreath at the foot of General Darby's statue.
Ready? Present. Arms.
Thank you very much for being here today.
Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia si desta, dell'elmo di Scipio si cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga le chioma, che schiava di Roma, il Dio la creò. Stringiamoci a coorte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamoci a coorte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Sì!
Padre nostro, che sei nei cieli, sia santificato il tuo nome, venga il tuo regno, sia fatta la tua volontà, come in cielo, così in terra. Dacci oggi il nostro pane quotidiano, rimettendo i nostri debiti, come noi li rimettiamo ai nostri debitori, e non ci indurre in tentazione, ma liberaci dal male. Amen.